We'll get it right this time.
Okay, GMAC meeting, take two. I'd like to call the meeting of November 6, 2025 of the Gualala Municipal Advisory Council meeting to order. Meeting's called to order at 6:02. Mr. Schlock, would you please do the roll call?
Absolutely. Chair Evans,
Here.
Vice Chair Youngling,
Here.
Councilmember Mayer,
Here.
and Councilmember Hayward.
Here.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay, and I'd like to report that Councilmember Lewis, Councilmember Hess, and Councilmember Finley do have excused absences from this evening's meeting. We do have a quorum. Alternate Zach Hayward will be sitting in tonight as a regular member. I didn't include that in the last one.
You got it this time.
This is why we do it twice.
Yeah. Give me two tries at it, right? Okay, moving on to item number 2, approval of the agenda. Please, yes?
Since the agenda was published last week, we've had 3 additional items of correspondence that went to all members of the council. Members Finley, Mayer, and Lewis contributed an additional 4 items of correspondence.
Okay. Great. With the additional correspondence as submitted, are there any other additions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
I move that we approve the agenda as submitted.
Motion by Councilmember Hayward. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a second by Councilmember Youngling. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried. Okay. Moving on to item number 3, approval of the October 2nd, 2025 regular meeting minutes. You should have received a copy of it. Are there any items to amend or discuss? If not, I would entertain a motion to accept them as submitted.
Just a moment of just an observation. At the time when this was drafted and distributed, we did not yet have an internet link for the YouTube recording. With your indulgence, Councilmember Mayer will furnish that to me after our meeting. So if it's acceptable to members of the council, we can act on the draft contingent upon me completing it with that link.
Okay. With that recommended action, do I have a motion to accept the minutes as revised?
I'll make a motion to approve the October minutes as amended.
Motion by Mr. Youngling, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Hayward. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right, under item 6, we have a presentation. Mr. Craddy, would you like to do us the honor of introducing the item? And
We have,
never mind, you're right.
Sheriff report first.
No, we'll do, you know what? Yeah, so we can get Chris back on the road.
Okay.
If you can indulge us, we're gonna deviate from the agenda just a moment.
I'm going to note, just as a matter of tracking, even though it's a little irregular, that we will shift in item 5 before the presentations. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So, moving item 5 up, we have our resident deputy, Chris McNally, who will give us an update.
Can you hear me? Is it coming through? Is it working? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. So I've got some October stats for you guys. There was 29 calls in the Gualala area through September. There was 2 welfare checks, 2 reported vandalisms, 1 traffic collision that was non-injury, 5 security checks, 1 suspicious circumstance reported, 1 restraining order service, 1 mental health assist, 1 follow-up investigation, 1 reported fraud, 3 domestic disturbances, 2 regular disturbances, 1 civil issue, 1 citizen assist, 1 assault, and 6 911 unknowns. Usually when they drop the phone or they're weed eating and their phone goes off and
And you get notified and.
We just make sure they're okay, go find them, make sure they're okay, so.
Is that average for this area, or is it down, is it up, where are we at?
I've been sharing my time a little bit between the North Coast and the South Coast because of some shortages and folks that were out sick and some vacations, so you don't have me down here stirring a lot of trouble like I normally do, right? So your security checks are probably, cut by about a third.
Okay.
But other than that, it's average. 80% of the calls are normally up north. Mendocino is a lot busier than we are down here, which is kind of nice for down here. But I share my time between all those areas, so I've been up there a little bit more, recently.
All right. So we appreciate any comments from any of the council members.
Thanks a lot.
No problem.
I will share one note in speaking with people on Tuesday while at the Board of Supervisors meeting. They want to know how lucky we were to get a resident deputy down here. And I said, we just know people in the right places. So we're very fortunate to have you as part of our community.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. If you guys need anything, feel free to reach out. Okay.
All right.
Good
Have a
evening.
good evening.
Thank you.
Thanks, buddy.
Good call. Thank you.
He's usually pretty quick, I don't keep him waiting.
Okay, now for our presentation, Mr. Craddy, if you would please.
Sure.
State your name and where you live, not the address, but town.
Okay, my name is Rick Craddy. I live at 46600 Old State Highway. I'm here before the GMAC Council to offer potential for the community. My wife and I own a 10-acre parcel of land known as the China Gulch parcel. We had planned on building a house there, and I've gone through the first initial stages with the county and receiving a CDP exclusion approval from them. But I met a gentleman about a year ago. He was one of the first presidents of GMAC. His name is Jim Lauder. And Jim asked me where I lived, and I told him, and I said, we're building a house, and he asked me where, and I told him where, and he says, oh my goodness, do you know what you have, son? I said, yes, I got 10 acres, I got no water and no power. He said, no, son, you have something much more valuable than that. And I said, well, tell me what you think it is. He said, when I was the president of GMAC, I don't know if you were involved in this or not, Robert, it could have been prior to your time, that the general town plan was being hammered out, and they had identified 3 parcels in town to be planned development parcels for the growth of the town. Well, the 3 are the Mill Bend property, which is no longer on the table, obviously. Some property that Bauer owns somewhere. I don't know what parcel or parcels were deemed planned developments. Right here.
Yeah.
Okay, and then our parcel. And so we got into a discussion about how could it be possible to develop the property. And I had all kinds of roadblocks coming up in my head, as you would imagine, around here with the county and with the lack of infrastructure. And so I kind of just let it slide and thought about it, but really didn't put much more effort or thought into it. In August, I was sent a text message, and I'm sorry if I'm talking too much. I was sent a text message from Randy Burke, and the text message had a website attached to it, Magdalena Homes, Felipe Camacho. And I thought it was nice and very interesting, 8x32 tiny homes, very well built, and they're looking for properties that potentially they could work with and develop a relationship and offer proper housing in an area that doesn't have any. And this is their mission statement for a lot of states, but we're talking about right here. And so I reached out and I said, well, I have a 10-acre parcel. However, I'm not really sure if it could be developed or not, but let's talk about it. So that's what we're doing now. I met Felipe at my parcel. This is Avery Rahman. He is a financially tied in with Magdalena Homes. Avery is from Marin. Felipe lives in Yorkville. So we're all locals. And so Felipe came down, we walked the property, and it seemed to be conducive to the planned development that they have in their business model. And I thought that would be interesting to see what would happen. And the reason that I make this right-hand turn away from building one house on a 10-acre parcel, it just doesn't seem right to me to do that when we have a housing issue. We're lacking affordable housing. We have no housing. Someone said someone at the Forager School needs housing, a teacher, they don't have it. RCMS, they don't have it. Something has to happen. Something has to happen. It can't continue to go on like this. Or what's gonna happen is there's not gonna be anybody here to work in Surf Supermarket or Gualala. There's just not gonna be any places for people to stay, regardless of, you know, having medical people to take care of us. Anyway, so I'm gonna stop talking. Felipe went to the county and spoke with a planner about this potential. And the feedback was pretty positive. So this is our first crack the door open, let you see what we have. We intend to, if this goes forward, to have an 8 by 32 foot unit there so everyone can see it. You could see the quality. And that will be presented in the next GMAC meeting. This one, we didn't have the time, nor would it have been in the Brown Act or whatever the particular protocols are. So we will be developing a much bigger presentation. With that, I will let you speak to Felipe and his vision.
Thank you, Rick. That's great. Well, it's an honor to be here. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Gualala is an amazing community. I've been visiting for years. I have friends in the area. And so to have the opportunity to even just have this conversation means a lot to me and the people behind all this work that we're doing. Magdalena is already providing housing in Boonville. We also are launching a 15-unit community in a place called Blue Lakes Village, which is about 20 minutes from Ukiah. We actually just found our first resident for that 15-unit development that's gonna come online in the next 4 months. And so this opportunity that, Rick, thank you again for getting in touch with us. This opportunity that we've identified here fits very well with what we're doing at this point. We're making 5 homes a month. And so we'd be able to deploy a pilot unit, like Rick said, very quickly. And based on how the community feels about it, and if we set up a resident in that pilot unit, we get lots of feedback. We can then bring more units. Very proud of the fact, and I'll let Avery speak about this, very proud of the fact that we've set this up so that people don't have to buy these units. We will rent them with a purchase to buy so that people can ultimately become independent owners of these units. And we want to do this in a way, and this is why big part of the reason why we're here in person. We're not here just to house people, we're here to help the community. Like Rick said, this is not just about the people who need the housing, it's about the entire community, because as we hear from many other communities in California, this housing shortage has become a major issue for schools, for the health centers, just for the community at large. Businesses cannot grow. It's become a really big problem. And so we want to hear from you what is that you want when you think about something like this, and we want to work with you to do it in the way that you want it done.
All right.
Thank you.
Avery?
Hi, I'm Avery Raymond, and I'm a partner with Felipe in Magdalena Homes. And I really couldn't say it better than what Rick and Felipe already said, but just wanted to add that I bring the hands-on real estate experience and background that's necessary to not only plan, but also execute projects such as this. So my background is multifamily management, ownership and operations. And I've performed those responsibilities in a number of states across the country. Primarily New York and Illinois. However, I am from Northern California, and this place is incredibly important to me. And just like Felipe, I've spent a decent amount of time up here over the past 20 years. And we think it's a tremendous opportunity to create affordable, sustainable housing for the community, and most importantly, to enable the people that are the backbone of the community to find great homes to live in at an affordable price. So, thrilled to be here. Thanks for your time.
All right, thank you. Any questions from the council?
Yeah, I do.
Go ahead.
Thanks for the presentation. It's a really cool. I'm happy to hear an idea like this because housing is a really big issue here. You know, these past few years, we've had pharmacies come and go altogether because of housing. Same with teachers and, you know, medical personnel, like you were saying. And I read, what I was able to read through the attachment that Henry sent us was the rent to own. I'm just curious how it works. Like it sounds like it, you know, it's $9.50 a month per unit, and then I guess the property owner or landlord can mark that up, you know, at a reason, like up to, you know, $1,500 is a great rate, you know, altogether for all inclusive and everything. And so I was wondering, that $9.50 a month, is that just if someone signs a lease for whatever the stipulation is to, you know, rent to own, is that the numbers on that, or how does that work?
We're mimicking. Yes, thank you. We're mimicking what you would see in a car lease. You make lease payments, and after, let's say, 3 years, you have an option to purchase at a price that we know would be less than what the unit costs originally. That's basically how it would work.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable.
Yeah.
And for a situation like what you're talking about, you know, it's your property, correct? And so how does the money factor in for a development like this that's on private property, but it's for, you know, multiple units, multiple rental units for the community? Does the county get involved?
Yeah, great.
What's the situation?
Great question. So yeah, we're also very proud of the fact that what we have been doing has not relied on any kind of external support or subsidies. It's all profitable on its own. And so there would not need to be any kind of investment from the county. The county, who, as Rick mentioned, we've already spoken with, of course, needs to approve the housing, but they've already said that we would qualify for a use permit, and assuming there's no local opposition to what we're proposing, that they don't see a problem with what we're intending to do here.
And the water usage for your property, is there a, you know, a grandfathered in well use, or what's the?
So that's the elephant in the middle of the living room, water. There's obviously no water hookups, hasn't been since 2008. Thank you very much. And so we're gonna have to be creative with that. We don't know what the county will allow. We don't know. There could be some storage tanks with filtration systems. We have to think outside the box, because if we continue to go down the same path that we've continued to go down, it's never gonna happen. I'm currently under contract to have a company drill a well for me. I tried once before, unsuccessfully. So there could be a well there in a couple of months, but it's going to have to be a creative water source situation. They deliver water to the Boonville project. There's storage tanks there. This is a very forward-thinking project that hopefully the county will loosen up some of their protocols and parameters, so our little town at the south end of Mendo doesn't just disintegrate. So anyway.
Yeah, I'll add to that we look at many properties. We've looked at many properties in Mendocino and surrounding counties. And what tends to be a big problem is the septic or sewer. Here, there's a sewer line. So we were very happy to see that. And the water, from the county's perspective, based on what they've told me, shouldn't be a problem. They're okay with water being trucked and
People
held
do that
in.
anyways here.
Yeah, exactly. And so we've looked at the numbers, and the cost for the resting would be similar to what they would pay if they were working with the water company here in town versus having the water delivered. So.
And so the process for building, sorry, can I ask one more question?
Go ahead.
The process for building would be basically just like any private development, like there's a CDP, gets approved, you know, you guys submit the plans and everything, and then
it's a little bit simpler than it sounds when you describe it that way, because the homes are on wheels and they come fully assembled. Very proud of the fact that this is very light on the land. There's no, if let's say that demand changes and 5 years from now, the town doesn't want the homes, or there's some reason why we need to move the homes, there will be no trace left behind. These homes don't require a foundation, and the county's comfortable with this. And so there's no actual building process that takes place here. We literally just show up at the homes, hook them up, and that's why it's a very low-risk proposition for the community.
Very cool.
And as Felipe mentioned, the only reason this is even potentially possible is because when that parcel, that 10-acre parcel was created in 2008, and they separated the Villa Del Mar Mobile Home Park from the 10 acres, they had to make they had to allow for a new sewer distribution system. So what they did was they ran a 6-inch sewer line all the way down the middle of our property along an access road to some solid tanks, and then it goes into the pump station. So when I submitted for my CDP exclusion, I showed the line and they approved the tap. It's not inexpensive. It's pretty expensive to tap into the line, but GCSDR has already approved that for a home. And the way I see it is maybe they need more revenue. That would be a number of more homes on an existing line that they could charge for without a lot of upgrading. So anyway.
I can promise you they need more revenue. Yeah, they definitely do need more
They
revenue.
need revenue, yes.
That is true.
We're trying to create revenue for GCSD.
And you're familiar with the hookup fees, right?
Yeah, they're like 25 grand.
Oh, yeah, 17 plus with the tanks and all that.
Oh, yeah.
Zach, do you have any more questions?
No.
Robert?
The ownership of the, are you gonna create some kind of a, like the existing mobile home park there, Rick? Or you go ahead, sorry.
I can speak to that. So what we've conceived of is, we call it Magdalena Fund 1. And so that is a major part that I'm involved in, which is raising the capital to go out and purchase these homes, place them, and lease them out to tenants. So, I refer to it as like buying an apartment building that's distributed, with the units distributed over different places. It's really the same thing. In terms of how do we finance it and who owns what, it would be that the Magdalena Fund owns the units, and our typical experience to date has been we pay a portion of the rental revenue to the landowner for the land lease. Typically it's something like, we charge $1,500 a month to the tenant, and we pay $500 of that out for the ground lease. So that is the structure that we have conceived of that would be appropriate. But of course, there's also always opportunity for refinement.
Is there any kind of a plan for the homeowner to eventually buy the land?
That is not something that we have discussed.
Okay.
Yeah, no, so it's a very good question, right? Because if you want to have the security of owning your home, it's not sufficient to just own the dwelling. You want to also own a place where you can set it up, and
Yeah,
so
because
yeah.
we have two so-called mobile home parks in the area. One is set up where they do just the space rental, and the other one where Rick is in, they own a part of the whole land parcel. So I wasn't sure if you were.
No, that would take a lot more legal and financial thought process than we are even considering at this point.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Now, the resident can own the dwelling, which is a part of the entire equation, and it's a very important part of the entire equation. So owning that dwelling allows them to take it somewhere else, where perhaps they find a better land deal. They have that flexibility.
Thank you.
All right. Robert, do you have any other questions?
Not presently, no.
Dave?
No, I do not.
Henry?
Yeah, and so full disclosure here, Felipe and I spoke on the phone yesterday. So a couple of the questions I'm going to ask, I already know the answer to, but I think are worth fleshing out here. So you talked about, with regard to water, so you said you had already quoted what the trucking in would be, but you also talked a little bit about gray water recycling.
Yeah, so the homes come with holding tanks, one for black water, the other one for gray water, and the idea is to conserve water. So the gray water, assuming the residents using the right products and soaps and that kind of thing, can be used to irrigate a garden. And then the black water is what would be handled by, well, in this case, because there is a sewer line, then there's no need to have the black water tank pumped. It would just go straight into a sewer line.
And then we also spoke a little bit about the possibility at some point of incorporating like solar into the project, not immediately, but as a potential pilot.
Yeah, that's right. So Magdalena is setting out to, like I said before, not just house people, but really create better housing than what exists generally today. And a big part of our vision is to incorporate solar panels into every home. Solar panels and an inverter would be easy economically to do, and that would supplement what we would get from the grid in this specific project. And of course, for residents, and we've had residents who've asked for this, who want the full setup with batteries, something that we're very open to help accomplish. Of course, the batteries are expensive, so that, that's not contemplated in the numbers that you're seeing here.
And then the last thing, you spoke a little bit about the possibility of conjoining units to make something more than just a studio.
Thank you for that. So the housing need is not just for individuals and couples, this is for families as well. And so we've come up with a second layout that's not pictured here that combines with the first layout to form a 3-bed, 2-bath solution that a family can use. As part of the beauty of this model is that it's very flexible, and so you combine 2 units, you get 2 bedrooms plus a sleeping loft, 2 bathrooms. That would work pretty well for a family.
That's basically just double the price,
Not quite, because the second layout is a little less expensive. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Anything else?
I think that is it for me.
Okay, I have a couple. How many units are you planning, well, first, let me back up. Are you planning on utilizing all 10 acres?
Well, Rick, I want to defer that to you. You know the property.
No, all 10 can't be used because a number of acres are botanically preserved. Of the 10, of the areas that are currently on the assessor's mapping website, there are 2 large areas that are excluded from Coastal Commission purview. Those would be the areas that the homes would go in. The amount of homes, generally speaking, and this is without a lot of layout and site development and every other thing that's going to be required, is we're looking at around 20. There could be more. There might not be 20, but that's what we're shooting for. Is that about right?
Yeah, 20 to 30 is
20 to 30, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I've created a lot of plot plans in my life, and I've done a lot of drafting, and I did a very simple site plan layout, and the property could probably handle a lot more than that, but we don't want it to be overrun. We want people to have some privacy, and so 20 to 30 would probably work. And no, it's not going to all be all of 10 acres, because I'd say a good 3 or 4 of them are down in China Gulch, and there's nothing you can do there,
So of that 10, what do you anticipate, 5 acres?
Yeah, let's just say 5, sure.
Okay.
5 acres.
Next question would be, is this project gonna be built in a phase? Or are you gonna try and do all 20 at one time? And how are you planning on presenting this project?
It's a great question. So it is very important to us that we do this in the way the community wants it done. And for that reason, we think it makes sense to start with a pilot, gives everybody an opportunity to look at the unit, hear from the resident who would be living in that unit, what the experience is both with the unit and with us, working with us. We want to earn the right to do our work here. And so phase 1 would be that pilot. And then from there, we can separate the remaining units into phases. But my guess is once we've shown our good work there, the community is going to want the units at the fastest pace we can bring them. Right now, like I said, we're making 5 a month, and there's demand from other locations, but it would be a real honor to have Gualala be one of the first communities that we help, and have Gualala be part of this, what I think will be a much bigger story later about community solving this problem. And so, yeah, really looking forward to deploying. I think we could get the entire thing done next year.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah.
So, as you're, I guess, launching of phase one, you're anticipating maybe 5?
Yeah, so the pilot unit can be here within a couple of months.
Okay.
We would want to get that here as soon as possible so we can start getting that feedback and the input from the community. And then after that, we thinking of the different projects that we're working on right now, but we can probably deploy a number of units per month. And so it shouldn't be difficult for us to get to the full 20 to 30 units by the end of the year. And as Avery said, it's very helpful that his contribution to this means we have all the funding we need for all 20 to 30 units. So that part is solved.
Oh, great. Yeah. You mentioned Boonville. How big is your project there?
We only have 3 units there. That's where we started. And then after that came Blue Lakes, where we've set up a 15-unit development that we're starting to work on now.
Oh, great. So, is it well received there?
Boonville, very well received. Happy to provide references like the Housing Association for Anderson Valley and the people that we've worked with there. I know the property owner is very happy with what they've seen done on their property. The residents are super happy too. It's been really life-changing for the residents, I have to say. People have come from very difficult housing situations. Some had to move from very far away to find a home. Now they're part of the community, have local jobs. You really can see the impact.
Yeah, if you could provide, or Rick, if you could provide a contact for Anderson Valley Housing, that would be great.
Sure.
Robert?
Speaking of Boonville, I was wondering if you had any water, sewer issues in Boonville or even with the county there.
Yeah, great question. So that one was relatively easy. The property had plenty of water and a septic tank. So we connected to the septic tank, we connected to the water system, we connected to the grid. So that was a straightforward one. I would say of all the properties that we've looked at, this one here that Rick has is excellent because the water problem is the easiest to solve. And just having that sewer line is a huge plus. Yeah. Oh, may I say also that the capacity to accommodate north of 20 units is great. That's one reason why we're prioritizing this project here at Magdalena, because often a property will only allow 2 structures, but the zoning here allows for 20 to 30. That's huge.
One thing I just wanted to add is that as we've been going around all over Mendocino County for many months, we've looked at a lot of sites and we grade them, right? We look at what existing infrastructure may exist, what would we need to do, is it flat, is it sloped, how close is it to, a greater community or a city? And so, when we go through our evaluation process, that's what made this property really stick out to us because of what's already there, because of the location and the size and scale. It's always helpful to add every incremental unit of housing, but it's a lot more impactful if we can add 20 or 30 units of housing versus 1 or 2 or 3 at a time. Because the infrastructure build isn't necessarily that different to do 3 versus 20, particularly with the site that, we're talking about today.
All right. Zach?
I have a small logistical question. So if you're starting with just 1 unit, but you can have up to 20 or 30 on this property, how does that work out with how much is installed, like right off the bat? Like, are you guys gonna install water and power hookups on, 10 sites and then, fill those and build as you go? What kind of?
Excuse me, let me speak to that. So this was just an introduction.
Right.
These specific questions, financing, when it's gonna happen, staging, sequencing, these are all things that we're going to compile in a more respectful manner that will address any questions you might have.
Cool.
So those types of finite things, I don't think we can address tonight.
We're just used to worrying about things taking forever around here. So I'm just like, is this,
Once again, I met Felipe on Monday, I talked to Kevin on Tuesday, I was on the agenda within 48 hours, so we're moving as quick as we can.
It's great.
And Felipe went right up to the county and talked to Matt Goings, who, in my humble opinion, is one of the only people up there that really does a good job and knows what he's talking about. So that, when he said that name, I go, oh, that's wonderful, because you could get another person and they could say that's black, and another planner that says, oh no, that's red. But Matt is a good guy, and I've spoken with him, he's helped me on a couple of projects, so anyway.
All right. Any other questions? Henry?
Yeah, and this may be one of those where it's like, we haven't thought about this yet, ask us in a month or two. But I do wonder, I'm just thinking, you know, if it's 20 to 30 units in, let's say, 5 acres, that's potentially enough density to even create some like hyperlocal amenities. So I wonder if there'd been any consideration for something like that, like a playground, or I don't know, you know,
Yeah.
like volleyball court or something, or I don't know, some sort of outdoor recreation for residents.
Blue Lakes, the 15-unit development has that. That's an established community with the dog park and a farm, and it even has a private beach at the lake. So we absolutely want that to be part of the whole concept. Like I said, not just looking to house people, it's about creating communities, making better communities. So.
And also, because of the botanical setbacks, and not many people have been in China Gulch. It's pretty intense. Now they've just spent millions of dollars creating this brand new, you know, underground culvert with a fish ladder. I don't know what they're doing down there, but they're pouring lots of concrete. My point is that there's going to be at one point in time in the near future a trail that goes all the way down to China Gulch. The Mill Bend property across the street already uses our property to do bird watching. So we want to promote people to go down there and to see what they've never seen before. So those types of, you know, facilities will be created. Those types of opportunities.
Great, thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions from the council? Is there anybody online?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I think Corinne wanted to ask a question. Corinne, if you could unmute, we should be able to hear you.
Oh, yeah, I was just curious. You mentioned about providing affordable housing, but we all know that it's a really big tourist location, and you know, would people still want it if that's what people ended up doing with those units that they're getting? Like, would the community still want this development here if it ends up just being rentals for out-of-town visitors?
Oh, so the goal is to house local community members and residents. That's the goal. We do get from time to time this question about, hey, have you thought about deploying these units as short-term stays? Right at the onset of this project, going back 2 years, we understood that the short-term stays can be more profitable, but that's not really the problem that we're trying to solve. We're trying to solve the housing shortage. There is a model that we think works really well where you're trying to support the local community with capacity to host visitors, because that supports the local economy. And so we've looked at setups where, let's say you have a subset of the units be designated as short-term stay units, where the residents in the other units help support that, you know, that visitor by helping manage the property and that kind of thing. We think that can work really, really well and supports the community at large. And so, yeah.
I maybe I didn't ask my question right. I have concerns about, I don't know what the ownership looks like as a leasee, like basically rent to own. I heard you say something like that. And what's preventing somebody? As a community member, I love the idea of getting more housing for our local community, because we do have a staffing issue everywhere. And so having places for the people who live and work here to live is great. But what's gonna, like, how couldn't somebody just buy one of those and rent it out? If to, like, as a rental, not like for like an Airbnb type of thing.
Yeah, great question. You wanna?
Okay, so I live in Villa Del Mar, and we have a very strict policy that there are no rentals allowed whatsoever. There's no people that are allowed in there to Airbnb it, and this would probably be the same type of facility. As Felipe mentioned, the intention is not to create Airbnb units. It's to create affordable units for people who live and work in town.
Yeah.
So the structure of the agreement, the lease agreement that will, be created will will eliminate that potential. That's nothing that we want, so, at this point in time.
Yeah, great. I don't know who was talking, whether it was the landowner or not, but like, how would that get? I get that is being said that it's going to be in the lease with the person who's leasing the unit, but how is that baked into the existence of this property that can't just be changed because somebody decided to change what the lease terms were?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
I believe I might have an answer to that, which is that, if the present owner of the land, Rick Craddy, he owns the land, right? And he, when let's say someone were to exercise a purchase option after several years of renting the home, they don't own the land, right? So there are various restrictions that can put in place that can kind of put restrictions on the usage because they don't own the land. So again, I fully understand and recognize that what you're stating is a very valid concern more broadly, but this is certainly not our intent, and we will do the right work to ensure that that doesn't become the outcome.
Yeah, I guess I'd be curious about how that goes beyond just words, because once it's there, if now this is not something you can do without community approval. So is that correct? Like, so if the community is getting pitched this idea, told all these things that it's going to be like this,
Yeah.
and then we say, okay, like, we're good with this, we love this idea, but then it ends up not being that, but there's nothing you could do now because it's already established. Like, I think it's just super important that the community,
Yeah. Yeah.
there's insurance that it's housing for local
Yeah,
communities.
makes sense.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite questions tonight, and this is exactly what I'm talking about when I say we want to do this in a way that works for the community. And so I know that the process with the county is obtaining a use permit. I'm not super familiar with what exactly that use permit will allow, but it might be specific about what is allowed, and it might be specific enough to say this is for permanent housing and not for short-term stays. So that would be, I think in this process, that would be the place for that restriction. And as the providers of the dwellings here, not only do we only intend to provide permanent housing, that's what we set out to do from the beginning. On the investment side, that's what they're expecting. That's what we've set out to do. We're very comfortable with, if the use permit limits this to just permanent housing, that's no problem from our perspective, because that is what we intend to do, and that's how we've designed the whole project.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other comments online?
Not that I've seen.
Okay, bring it back to the council for any closing thoughts. And Robert?
What about the possibility of a deed restriction on the land? Is that something you'd entertain, Rick, as far as?
I haven't gone.
Okay, this is for future.
Sure.
Okay, all right.
Send me all your questions and we'll discuss them. This was just like, hey, here we are.
Yeah.
We'll see you next month.
But it's interesting, so we're
Yeah.
asking.
I appreciate the questions. They're all good ones.
I really want to thank you guys for putting this together. You obviously know this is a huge problem in Mendocino County, and I think we're going to be better off with a concept and a project that will be able to provide housing for a lot of our workforce. So thank you for that. I realize that this was just an introductory presentation, and feel free to contact us if you ever want to come back and give us an update. We would love to have you.
We'll be on the next agenda. If not the next one, whatever the one that we can get on. It'll be a much more in-depth presentation. So thank you.
Well, we
And I can
appreciate
say
it.
this, It'll probably be done before the streetscape project.
I should hope so.
Probably, and Rick, go ahead and work through Dave. He'll get any information you need to have, or Henry, well, actually go through Dave.
Yeah, Dave.
And then he'll forward it to Henry. Any type of presentations you need done, we'll be happy to do that. If it's any handouts that would be informative for the community, we'll get those to Henry so he can put them on our website, so the community can see what's going on and what great things you guys are doing.
And the short presentation I had is on the website.
Okay.
It's 2 pages. It's a very brief overview, but if anybody wants to see it, it's at gualalamac.org.
Thanks, Aaron.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good to meet you guys.
Thank you very much.
We'll be back.
Okay, next item is a presentation by Laura Baker and Dylan Freebrun Smith about stormwater drainage and the SR1 Gualala Downtown Streetscape Project. I was contacted by Ms. Baker. She is unable to attend. Is Mr. Smith online?
No, the only relevant party to this is Ms. Everett.
Ms. Everett.
Caltrans.
Okay, they're not here, but I do know that Caltrans does have an update for us. So Dave, do you want to provide the intro on that, and then we'll have Ms. Everett give us her presentation.
Sure.
Or her update.
Thank you, Chair Evans. I want to express my appreciation for Ms. Everett's willingness to jump at very short notice to join this presentation. I apologize to Ms. Everett that the triggering request is not here. However, if you're willing to help the council understand a bit what your team is doing with regard to the topic of the presentation, which is stormwater management as part of the State Route 1 Gualala Downtown Streetscape Project, I think that members would be grateful for anything you could share with us.
And Katie, can I interrupt you before you start your presentation? I just want it to be known that Robert Youngling has recused himself from the dais as a member of GMAC during your presentation, and then we'll go ahead and go from there. So please.
Well, thank you so much for having me. Dave, thanks for reaching out. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Excellent. I don't have much of a presentation, but I wanted to come. I heard that Dylan and the Friends of the Gualala River were going to be presenting. We did speak with them previously, and unfortunately, some of the requests that they were making were unable to accommodate in the project. They were looking to reroute the flow of the drainage within the project and within downtown Gualala, and resource agencies typically don't like us doing that. It becomes problematic when you reroute drainage. And with all the constraints that we had, it really didn't allow us to change the water flow. Their preference was for water to be rerouted onto the east side of the project. Unfortunately, there's a water main that goes down along the east side that we came into conflict with the project and had to adjust the sidewalk as well as the drainage that we're implementing to go around that private water utility. Otherwise, the private utility would have to relocate it at their cost, and that's extremely expensive. So we don't want to make those type of demands on the local water district. And so for that reason, we were unable to accommodate the shifting of the drainage to the other side. It would be highly problematic. And also, Caltrans is aware of the presence of the 6 PPDQ on our highway systems and has considered this in the stormwater treatment design for the Gualala Downtown Enhancement Project. The current project design will It's been a long day, folks. Thanks so much for bearing with me. The current project design will promote infiltration throughout the project limits in multiple ways with the goal of minimizing exposure of the 6 PPDQ and other stormwater contaminants to the Gualala River estuary. which would have a corresponding reduction in potential for the project to impact coho and other federally and state listed salmonid species likely to be present in the estuary. Treatment best management practices, we call TMBPs, have been implemented to promote infiltration and reduce stormwater pollution at the source throughout the project limits, with the goal of slowing the runoff down and reducing runoff volumes. Erosion control and biofiltration elements will be placed throughout the treatment area and will include some of the following items, like strips of vegetation that will have amended compost to promote infiltration on any untreated stormwater, as well as controlling erosion and other overlapping flow. These will be placed throughout the project in any areas where soil is disturbed. Construction of a biofiltration swale at the northeast corner of the Old Stage Road intersection. The green, when you think about the project, the southeast, right at the very lowest section of the project, the bioswale was selected in that area specifically to be able to capture water that was flowing towards it and provide treatment. It's approximately 350 linear feet, and the roadway that drains to it, it'll treat about 4 acres of stormwater. We anticipate about 2.7 acres of impervious area, so we have an additional, the bioswale will treat an additional 2 acres that is not already flowing that way. So that's a really great opportunity. It's also, the bioswale is also treating the runoff from the Sunstorm Shopping Center parking lot. And that is some of the highest concentrations of the 6 ppdq compared to some of the roadways. And there's also an improved channel at the south side of the Surf Market. It's going to have an earthen channel with some RSP in it, and that design will help slow the flow and velocity of the stormwater to allow sedimentation and contaminants to settle out before it reaches the estuary. At large, Caltrans is working closely with the Department of Toxic Substance Control, the State Water Resources Control Board, the North Coast Water Board, US EPA, National Marine Fisheries Service, and various North Coast tribes to identify priority areas for 6 ppdq monitoring and best management practices along roads and waterways. And that is the information I have to share today. Our coastal development permit was affirmed Tuesday during the Board of Supervisors meeting. We are continuing to work with the final property owner to come to a final resolution on the last right-of-way contract. We anticipate delivering this project and listing it next year and hoping to get to construction as quickly as possible. I can try to answer any questions y'all have for me.
Great, thank you, Katie. I bring it back to the council. Do you have any questions for Ms. Shepherd? Henry?
Well, first I just wanted to thank you for coming this evening. I know you had a long day yesterday as well, or Tuesday rather, as well. And just thank you for all of the work you've done on this project. I was very gratified to see the result that we saw on Tuesday from the Board of Supervisors. And yeah, I appreciate all of your input into that process. And so thank you.
Thank you.
Zach?
I don't have any questions. That's awesome.
Dave?
I just want to make sure that for the record, Katie, that everyone understands, and this is essentially the same information that this council considered when we gave recommendations on the proposed coastal development permit, that the design of the project that Ms. Everett has described will in fact improve substantially the conditions related to stormwater effluent getting into the estuary. And for this particular highly toxic constituent, 6 ppdq, that reduction will be substantial, and it will be happening to that part of the watershed where 6 ppdq generation is the most substantial. As it turns out, people running on the highway, those cars running on the highway, don't generate as much grit as people who are getting in and out of parking spaces. It may seem counterintuitive, but really that grit is when the tires are essentially grinding into pavement because they're turning at low speed. You have people turning their wheels without moving the car, or at low speeds turning their wheels. And it turns out that parking lots have the highest generation rate of this and other types of pollutants that are thrown out by cars or thrown out by brakes. And so Caltrans design is making the biggest improvement that could be possible because it's treating a portion of runoff from the Sunstrom Mall and the community center and the post office, which hasn't been done at all to date. The other improvement is to stabilize and provide some slowing and retention of run through and discharge in the swale between the Surf Market and the Breakers Hotel. Right now, it's just a straight shot. That water goes fast, it goes out quickly. There's no attenuation whatsoever. So the design in the project that we considered before will accommodate some additional slowdown. Not a whole lot, but there isn't any room to do a whole lot. So Caltrans, Katie's team has done the best they can within the constraints of the space that Caltrans can buy, the existing development that contains that space that can be purchased, utility conflicts like pipes and power that are extremely expensive to move and likely landing on essentially the owner utility, like we see in the case of poor Hopland, that's now essentially stuck with the situation that, you know, in order for an improvement there on the highway, that utility is just going to have to figure out a way to move its stuff. Unfortunately, the governor didn't approve that legislation this time around. We have a similar kind of problem. So Katie, did I characterize all this stuff accurately in, so let's say, more provincial jargon?
Dave, I'm not really sure you needed me. You got it. You kind of captured it all. So thank you.
I need you personally, and I know that we need you as a community. We need you to stay in the driver's seat. We appreciate your steady hand on the wheel. We know you've got your foot on the accelerator and occasionally have to tap the brake, but we really, all of us do appreciate your leadership and the fact that you're guiding this team to creative and effective solutions in a difficult situation. So thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Public comments.
Public comment. I just wanted to say that this was the first time I saw this document on Tuesday when we were over the Board of Supervisors meeting, and it's very helpful, this document, Katie, to see how much water you are keeping on the east side and how much water is going down. I mean, from everything that I've read, this central watershed area here, which is the parking lot, so you were just talking about, David, that it's capturing a lot of the water at that bioswale at the southeast end of the project. So all these lines, all these, this diagram, this document that we saw was very helpful in seeing how much water will be captured and preventing this 6 ppd going into or less of it going into the watershed or the river. That's all I want to say. It was very helpful, this document.
Any other comments from? No? Katie, I have one question. With your design right now that you've got to handle the runoff from the parking areas from the Sunstrom Mall and the post office, I know the community center is in a development phase right now, and they're not quite sure what the parking demand is going to be from the county. Will the water runoff from the community center, will the bioswale be able to handle any anticipated developed parking at the community center?
My team tells me that when they calculated the bioswale, it is large enough to accommodate a greater flow than is currently directed there. So while I can't answer your question specifically, that's something I can ask them to take a look at. And maybe, I know I've worked with Dave a little bit on the community center and in that area in there. So maybe I can check in and get a better estimate about the size and what else that bioswale can accommodate.
Okay, that'd be great. I know they're still kind of in the development phase of the project, so they're not sure what the parking requirement is going to be from the county. So I don't want your team to go too far into this until we get a better number on what the county is going to require for the community center parking. But thank you for letting us know that it has an expanded capacity capability.
Yeah, my understanding is it's currently treating roughly 2 acres of drainage, but it can treat up to 4 acres.
Okay, that'd be great.
One more question. What is the approximate cost to construct a bioswale?
Ooh, I do not feel comfortable giving you those numbers. They can vary in size and design and materials. I don't feel comfortable giving you the number off the top of my head. I apologize.
Okay, not even this one that's proposed here?
I'd have to look at the cost estimate. I haven't looked at that recently enough to be able to give you an estimate.
The reason I was asking is because...
Are you a member of the public?
He sure
Yeah, I'm
is.
speaking as the public still, of course. The reason why I'm asking is because if more bioswale would be needed, what prevents us from doing something on the west side?
Oh, okay, let me answer that, Ms. Everett. There's no room. There's no room.
Oh, but there's a lot of room there, I'm thinking.
Caltrans doesn't own it.
Right, we got to work with a Red Coast Land Conservancy. Okay.
Well, the deal with, yeah, Caltrans doesn't own the land.
Right.
And this project's gonna be done, and there won't be a remit to purchase more land. Redwood Coast Land Conservancy has to make its own decisions, however they decide to do them. Much of the west slope is, the bench is very narrow. Once one gets just a few feet past that pull-out parking area, you're on a slope, a very steep slope that's not gonna hold anything. That nevertheless, again, what this project has done is pulled several rabbits out of its hat. It's pulled rabbits out of its hat to avoid or minimize impacts to the jurisdictional wetlands up at Ocean. It's pulled rabbits out of its hat to avoid significant, extremely costly and disruptive impacts to underground infrastructure, like all the undergrounding, Robert, that you have been intimately involved with, but also really expensive sewer and water lines and all kinds of other telco and stuff that's in the ground. They've pulled rabbit out of their hats by maximizing the utility of the available right-of-way in China Gulch to treat as much acreage, stormwater coming from as much acreage as possible. I don't believe that Caltrans could squeeze any more bioswale in there. They could, but what would happen is the flat land is covered with that as much bioswale as possible. Extending the bioswale just puts it into a sloped property where there's simply no retention. So part of the deal with the bioswale is the water has to sit in it for some period of time in order for it to be effective. And putting a bioswale on steep ground is frankly ineffective and a waste of money. So long story short, based on my review and in conversations with members of Katie's team, including the biologists, is that they've done everything they can to make this project sing the sweetest song that it possibly can, to be the biggest prize that it can within their really astonishing constraints: space, topography, adjacent ownership and development, utility placement, and ultimately a fixed budget that isn't going to get any bigger, no matter how much we might all like it to be. So that really the key issue now is build this project, get it done, and live with it for a while. And if we find after experience that there are ways that the project can be potentially refined in the future with additional participants, we have further adventure ahead of us. But let's get this thing built.
I agree wholeheartedly. The only reason I brought it up was because it reminded me of the community center project when you brought that up. So that's additional parking needed there.
Okay, Corinne, do you have any comments?
Nope, none.
Okay, bring it back, close public comments, back to the council. Any Any questions? If not, nope. Ms. Everett, thank you so much for your time this evening and bringing us up to date on your best management practices to deal with our drainage and water quality. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a
Have a
great
great rest
evening.
of
Have
your
a great evening.
Thank you.
Okay, that ends correspondence and presentations.
Call that a presentation? Just for note, for the benefit of the secretary, the next time we do this, let's just be more cognizant of the council members' entirely legitimate desire to have conversation when we have a presentation. I prefer that you give me direction to calendar appropriately. These should be discussion items rather than just presentations, unless we're really serious about one-way information.
Okay. Okay, moving on to public comments. A maximum of 3 minutes is reserved for members of the public to address the Gualala Municipal Advisory Council on items not listed on the agenda, and the total time for public input on a particular issue is limited to 20 minutes. The council is prohibited from discussing or acting on matters not on the agenda, but may briefly respond or ask a question for clarification. Any public comments, Mr. Mayor? No.
Not that I see.
Okay, so we're closing public comments. On to item 7, public agency referrals. I see none, so we'll move on to item 8. 8.1, review and adopt proposed bylaw amendment. Upon reflection, I realized the last time we went through this process that we not only had a first reading, but we had a second reading as well. So I wanted to stay consistent, and so that's why I brought this back for a second reading.
So, I'm sorry if I may.
Yes.
So I don't think we can take any bylaws, like formal bylaws action without 14 days notice on the agenda, but also I don't think we need to take any further action. I think we took all the action that we needed to at the last meeting.
That's
it was
correct.
made available 14 days ahead, more than 14 days ahead of time. It was on the agenda more than 14 days ahead of time. It was.
Second reading is not really an action.
Yeah, so I have no objection to a second reading, but I don't think we should take any votes on it just because I don't,
Okay,
I'm not sure what the
Now
efficacy of.
I'm confused.
Well-
Because I know the first time when we went through the bylaws, we approved the bylaws, but there was some question on them. So we approved the bylaws at the first meeting, we published them and allowed the public to come back and offer any other comments at the second reading.
That was, I think that we hadn't noticed it 14 days ahead of time.
Okay.
So we drafted something for a vote at the next one because that gave us, if I'm remembering correctly, that gave us
That's been a
ample
while.
time to make sure we had the 14-day notice. I don't, if I'm remembering correctly, I don't believe anything like that is required in our bylaws. Pulling it up right now, just to read it out. Amendments to the bylaws shall be circulated to council members and posted for public review on the council's website at least 14 days in advance of the meeting at which they are to be voted. A plan to vote on bylaw changes shall be included on the agenda for that meeting. Council bylaws shall be subject to review and concurrence by the Board of Supervisors. So we've met all the requirements
Okay.
for the bylaws. And I kind of think in the spirit of the thing, if we were to take any action today without that having been noticed 14 days ahead of time, especially given that we have a little bit of a rump council right now, actually, I think that would, to some extent, delegitimize the action a little bit. But I don't think there's any need for us to do anything more. I think we've done what we need to do.
Councilmember Mayor, the second reading is intended to be one last look.
Yeah.
Just in case something comes up,
By all
you would have
means.
to go right back through the laundry cycle all
By all
over
means.
again. So that is, the action's been taken.
Mhm.
I think the anticipated outcome is that nothing changes, although we provide the community with a second look at the new apple, just to make sure nobody wants to sink their teeth into it one more time. If we had that case where that somehow the second reading jolted some need for change, we would go back into a drafting
Great,
14-day notice prior to approval laundry cycle.
great.
So we're good to go with just going.
Great.
Okay.
So do we want to review the changes then, or is that not?
If the council would indulge, I was not with you previously, however, I've reviewed. And so in lieu of a second reading, I'd like to suggest that we, if it's acceptable to everybody, if we need to vote, we could, although we don't have a vote, but we could certainly indicate concurrence informally that there is really no reason for a second reading, and that the bylaw change is entirely acceptable, and nothing has come to my mind that warrants a second reading. But
So we
leave that
could basically waive the second reading.
correct. You can. You have that discretion.
Nothing's changed, so.
On the other hand, if you want to read it, knock yourselves out. I'm here for another 5 minutes.
When we read it into the record,
We can do that?
just read it into the record, that's all we have to do, right?
Sure.
If we will.
Shall I read the changes?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna read the changed portions. We changed it to say, there shall always be 2 alternate members of the council. The alternate members shall be appointed by the Mendocino County Board of Supervisors under the same qualifications and term as a regular council member. 1 shall be designated at appointment as first alternate, and the other as second alternate. In the event that the first alternate leaves the council or becomes a regular member, the second alternate shall become the first alternate. The alternate members shall, next item, the alternate members shall participate in the discussion and debate at all meetings. If a regular council member is absent or otherwise precluded from voting, the first alternate may cast a vote. If any 2 members, including the first alternate, are absent or otherwise precluded from voting, the second alternate may cast a vote. And I do believe that is it, other than the metadata saying that we amended it.
Okay. Any public comments? Corinne, do you have any comments?
No comments.
All right. Okay, then,
Would you like to invite Ms. Elowit, if she has anything to offer or would like to say anything about this?
I'm a member of the media, not the public.
Doesn't mean you can't ask us questions.
Oh, no, I appreciate that, but no, I don't have any questions at this time.
okay. So do we need to make a motion to waive the second?
No, you just read it. It's done.
Just read it?
Waiver was
Okay.
non sequitur.
So we move forward with our original action and send it to county council, whoever that may be.
Would you like me to do that, or as secretary?
Yeah, that's fine.
Kind of
Yeah, go ahead.
my job. Okay.
Good luck, whoever the county council might be now.
You know, I'll probably reach out to PBS and ask them who they recommend. Charlotte is not county council?
No, she was appointed judge.
Ooh, what?
She took, not Judge Nadell, but another judge that just resigned, and she was appointed Superior Court judge.
Wow.
And she,
By the governor? Or by who?
I think by the governor, and I think she took her seat in October.
Good for her.
What about the deputy county council that we saw on Tuesday with that?
Oh, you know, let me back up, because wasn't she there?
I didn't see her.
Oh, no, but that's right.
Wasn't
There was somebody, I can't remember his name.
He's a gentleman.
No, but the county council seated to the left of Darcy, I think was Charlotte Scott at the meeting on Tuesday.
I
I remember just the deputy county council, the gentleman.
Well, that was the gentleman's, he was the one sitting next to Liam, the planner.
Mhm.
But there was a county,
Maybe
oh no, I take that back.
It was the.
Sarah Pierce.
Matthew-
Sarah Pierce sat next to the county administrator several times during the budget workshops.
I thought they referred to someone, and I thought the board of supervisors referred to some, anyway,
Well, it
doesn't
was-
matter.
They were, the person who was chiming in was Matthew Kidrowski,
Right, but.
who was a
yeah,
deputy
but
county council.
He was working with planning and building, but I think there was another representative, but anyway, it doesn't matter. Go ahead,
Well, it's
send
too
it.
bad for us because Ms. Scott was a very effective and helpful
Yeah.
county council, but I'm sure she'll be great on the bench. Wow, what a great change.
Oh, maybe her term started at the beginning of, well, no, it was November. Anyway,
Well, okay, I'll
forward it to whoever.
I'll figure it out. I think I've got the document.
Yeah.
Thank you for your direction.
Okay. Item 8.2, draft 2026 regional transportation plan and active transportation plan. The Mendocino Council of Governments has published the draft 2026 RTP and ATP for public review and comment by November 26, 2025. Plan updates were drafted in consideration of earlier public and agency input on transportation issues. This is a draft plan and it's for our review and public input, but so if you have any comments,
Yep.
we have till November 26th.
Chair Evans, if I might, the reason this item's on our agenda, in addition to your telling me to do it, is that this draft regional transportation plan, active transportation plan, is still available for public comment. And so we at GMAC are providing a venue for that comment to occur, as well as our own discussions, which constitute public comment ultimately. So that's why it's here. It's a convenience offered to the community, but also a chance for us to have any conversation that we want to have. Some of the logistical matters that are important for you all to know that the MCOG is on track to present the revised draft document, which is cognizant of public input and agency input during this published period, to the MCOG board in December. In order to meet that schedule, comments received by yesterday would be in time for consideration in that revised draft document. Comments received after this time and no later than the 26th would be available for consideration by the board, furnished as a separate document with some other treatment or not. So in some ways the action deadline is passed, but it isn't, the door is not fully closed. So as you all look at this document, if you have anything to say about it, please do furnish comments to MCOG. The door's open, and they're still quite curious about how people feel about it or other ideas that may come their way that help the board adopt this revised plan.
Okay.
Did you want to offer any commentary about issues pertaining to the South Coast, Kevin, for the benefit of our record and your colleagues here?
Well, let me back up. I think our secretary did a really great review of the document and provided some outstanding suggestions. At the Board of Supervisors meeting, I did introduce an item that was pertinent that I felt and the community feels is addressing the flooding issue of the Garcia River. And it was also, I also mentioned it in conversation with our state assemblyman, Chris Rogers, at his forum, that that was a project that we're interested in. And he indicated that he would be willing to work with us to identify not only Caltrans, but other agencies that might be able to help fund either water control or wildlife management or other issues pertaining to that particular area, in addition to addressing the flooding and the closure of the road, Highway 1. So Dave was able to add some comments in the draft. The Board of Supervisors now is aware of it, and so is our state assemblyman. So we're hoping that maybe we can get some traction in getting the Garcia River project addressed. So,
Keep your fingers crossed and your waders on.
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, comments on 8.2? Hearing none. New business, there's nothing under new business. Committee report, Bauer Park. Other than seeing the tractor out there and the fencing, have you guys seen anything else happening?
You know, I've been meaning to go out there and I haven't.
I drive by it every day. Tractor hasn't budged. It's been about a month. You can work in between rainy days. But yeah, I'm not sure what the,
So it's just closed for no reason.
Yep.
Yeah, so we're not sure
We don't know.
where we're not sure the status of the project is right now because I don't see any equipment moving. The only thing that's moved are people moving the fence so they can wander in.
I'll reach out to Doug Anderson and see if he can get us an update for the next meeting. I'm sorry, I should have probably done that before this one, but
I thought about it too, and matter of fact, I saw him at the board meeting on Tuesday and failed to walk over to him and ask him for an update, so.
Thank you for reaching out to Mr. Anderson. He's a busy guy, but yeah,
pretty responsive.
He is, he's really good.
he's a good guy.
Yeah, so I'll reach out to him and update at the next meeting.
Okay, before I excuse Robert, do we have any further comments on the Streetscape project? Do you have anything?
Yeah, I'd like to mention, I'd like to
Okay,
talk a
hang
little
on.
bit about the board action, if it's okay.
Okay, hang on. Let it be known that Councilmember Youngling has stepped down from the dais, recusing himself from the Streetscape project discussion.
Okay. Briefly, we've talked a lot about the streetscape. I'm really excited by what Ms. Everett has described because so many of our concerns about the estuary and potential water quality issues, they're absolutely crucial, and it's just great to see that Caltrans, who's really hung with us for a long, long time, has stopped getting creative and trying to find ways to improve the situation, not just for all modes of transport, but for dealing with a perennial water quality problem that threatens some of the sensitive and very special resources of our river and estuary. So that's really exciting to see progress there. But briefly, on the appeal that was considered by the Board of Supervisors this Tuesday afternoon, this was again an appeal that was submitted by the Bauer Limited Partnership. The Board of Supervisors' action after hearing at length from the appellant and members of the public and other stakeholders and staff, the board determined to modify the coastal development permit that was approved by the coastal permit administrator with updates to the Caltrans project description. So Caltrans continues to refine the project, keep it in budget, make sure it's going forward. There were some minor adjustments to the project description, so those were added to the by resolution to the coastal development permit, and additional conditions of approval that will require that decorative landscaping be installed in front of Seascape and in front of the community center, which is in response to, I believe, input from us and appeal by others about the importance of decorative landscaping as part of this project. The board also recognized that the decorative landscaping ultimately is going to depend upon having a fully executed landscape maintenance agreement between Caltrans and the county. And that the additional recognizing that dependency and the need to proceed on time and not hold the project up, the board added a condition of approval that said that the Caltrans and the county must execute that landscape maintenance agreement within 30 days.
Good.
Or that Caltrans would be allowed to not proceed with decorative landscaping, but they would apply native plant seed on those two areas to, again, stabilize the ground, but also put something on the ground that will look like something other than dirt, but not preclude formal decorative landscaping sometime in the future when circumstances allow. So that's my roundup. Do you guys have any questions? I think you were able to listen to it. I don't know if you were too. Robert was there. Yep, we had good representation from our colleagues. Pretty edgy situation. Anyway, that's it. If that's okay. Anything else? Any questions?
Well, I guess I would just call out on the landscaping question, which I really am so delighted that they took the action that they did. Their estimate of the cost is sort of, there's a lot of like Sturm and Drang about what is ultimately a very small amount of money. It's like their estimate was like $2,700 a year to maintain this.
There are a lot
That
of
was Caltrans' estimate?
a lot of caveats.
Yeah, this was from the county. There were a lot of caveats that didn't include travel time, didn't include equipment costs, there were various pieces to that, and part of that is that it's hard to estimate when they don't know exactly what's gonna end up happening.
If it's double that, it's not that much money.
Right, but the context of this conversation was that the bulk of the meeting that preceded it was about county budget constraints and trying to cut money everywhere that they could, which was why I had some trepidation about this vote following that discussion, because even a small amount of money they're wary of, and they were setting precedent to some degree about how are we going to handle this type of thing going forward. So they are taking on the formal agreement to maintain it. We have all, I think, encountered the county enough to know that that does not necessarily mean they will pay the money to maintain it. As part of the context for this discussion were possible funding sources that were local in nature. So a business improvement district, another special district, it becoming under the purview of the community services district, or labor being volunteer-based under the liability shield that the county already has for volunteer labor. So again, they're taking on assuming all goes well, they're taking on the formal obligation, but we should just have it in our heads that that does not absolve us of trying to make it happen locally, because there's a decent chance that's actually going to be required. Because if they have the obligation and they don't do it, Caltrans will just pull the landscaping out. So we should just be aware that's going to fall on us at some point to really think hard about how we want that to happen locally if we want to make sure that it does happen.
Very well said. Thank you for mentioning that. Yeah.
I just have a question.
We have to step up.
So if Caltrans, 30 days is up, Caltrans and the county don't have an agreement, then Caltrans compromises by planting native plants in the area.
Native seed, grasses.
Yeah.
Flowers and grasses.
And that's the maintenance of that, which is very minimal, if at all. Is that just line up with Caltrans' regular maintenance?
Will be a mower.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maintenance agreements are required for irregular installations, and decorative landscaping is considered that. Whereas there being erosion control grasses, that's part of their standard maintenance.
So worst case scenario, they drag their feet and 30 days comes up and that's what happens.
Well, the
Yeah.
nice thing about it is, if I'm not mistaken, they have at least a 2-year establishment, maintenance requirement.
That's right, yeah.
And then after that, by that time, we need to figure out, or someone needs to figure out
But,
a
yeah,
plan to maintain that.
the key is that
But it's gonna
Caltrans
be done.
cannot put decorative landscaping in unless there is a local
Yeah, of course.
maintenance agreement executed. They've got about a 30-day window that will not otherwise push the project timeframe around, and that's the constraint.
Yep.
So if the local maintenance agreement cannot be executed for whatever reason, and I don't think anyone's dragging their feet, they're doing the best they can under really difficult circumstances. If it can't happen, then Caltrans will not spend the taxpayer money on decorative landscaping for which there's no assurance of survival. They will cover the ground with native plant seeds, including flowers, as suggested by Councilmember Finley previously. And, you know, the door won't close, but the project will proceed.
Cool.
Okay, thank you, Chair Evans.
Okay, any other comments? Any comments from the audience? Both online and off?
None here.
So made.
Okay, we invite Robert Youngling back to the dais. Assume his role as council member.
Great to have you back.
Hey, thanks.
Would you like me to take on the next one?
10.3, local coastal program and town plan update.
Okay, for everybody's calendars, the next Grassroots Institute LCP webinar is scheduled for the 20th of November. You can make it, it's 3 to 5 p.m. online. They're always good. The agenda coming up is going to be continuing progress, but we're starting to move into this, I think, season of this particular undertaking where each of these meetings is going to really become much more substantive. So for example, Planning and Building Services is starting to get to near final or final versions of their technical studies. So as these technical studies conclude, we will probably learn more about what's in them at these webinars, and they're very accessible. So I want to encourage members in the community to attend. Yesterday, Planning and Building Services conducted a community workshop on the Visual and Cultural Resources Technical Study. I was unable to attend, so my apologies about that. However, those resources are now generally available. Mendocino County is now hosting a web page for the local coastal program visual resources analysis. So if you want to go online and see essentially an existing conditions document that talks about resources throughout the coast, but also discusses the previous sensitivity rating, whether resources are highly scenic or not so highly scenic, and makes recommendations about whether those designations should continue or be altered. So an interesting document, pretty short read. I encourage you to check it out if you have some time. A survey for the public was conducted from early October to early November. I don't know if you guys had a chance to participate in that survey, kind of weighing into questions, various questions about, you know, what's scenic, what sort of resources do any one of us or survey respondent feel are particularly important. Most of it was multiple choice, but there were some text fields to allow people to kind of wax on about nice views that they like particularly. So that's done, and it's now in the hands of the consultant and the county staff. Also, Mendocino County Council of Governments is conducting technical studies. Very importantly, they're doing a sea level rise roadway impact study, and there's a new website now lit up for that study. I want to encourage you to peruse it when you have time. MCOB's consultant is working on a public engagement plan. I expect that they'll be publishing that fairly soon. I've encouraged MCOG staff to look to GMAC to help as a venue for public engagement, and I will be reminding them of that offer as I am able and as it's contextual. That's my update.
They don't seem to have anything about that in their news and notices on their website, unfortunately.
MCOG?
Yeah, unless I've missed it.
look for the Mendocino sea level rise roadway impact study.
Oh, there we go, my bad,
I knew you would find it.
thank you.
Thank you, Jared.
All right, any questions? Any questions from the viewing audience? None? Moving on to economic development. Robert, do you have anything?
I wish I did. Still wondering about that welcoming sign.
Yeah, we'll have to reach out to Visit Mendocino what the status of that is. Correct me if I'm wrong, for those that were in the viewing audience on Tuesday. As part of their budget proposal, did they say, was it sales tax or property or TOT that was up $800,000?
I think it was TOT.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That came in substantially higher than they expected.
Yeah. So that's good news.
Yeah.
And they don't know quite how to spend it.
They don't seem to know entirely certainly, they don't seem confident that they actually have it.
Right.
Like there seems to be a lot of skepticism internally about all of the budget information that they have access to.
Yeah.
They're not used to good news, I guess.
Yeah.
And then you can see that friction between or I did anyway, between the Chubbison.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I don't know, maybe they're just unsure of what they have and what they don't.
Well, the good thing is, and I know that the supervisors keep requesting for the information. I know that there's members of the public and other agencies looking to get a breakdown on the revenue base for property tax, sales tax, and the TOT defined by the respective districts or within the sphere of influence. And they're not able to get that information on what their revenue generation is in those respective areas. But it seems to be a constant question from the board is how can we get a readout on what we're bringing in for the TOT and have it segmented into, if not the 5 districts, at least the 101 corridor for one set and the coastal TOT and sales tax for the other.
Are they hearing anything from the lodging association or maybe the chambers that are still up and running? Are they hearing?
They didn't report anything on that. So they're excited to see that the revenues are climbing. Yeah. But they have a cautious optimism on where it's going to go and if it's going to be able to help with the budget shortfall.
That $800,000 figure we heard, that was countywide, right? TOT. Okay. Yeah. Be interesting.
No, that was Gualala.
No, I was just gonna say, it'd be interesting to hear what was from
Yeah,
the South
no,
Coast
that
area.
was countywide, and if I'm not mistaken, that was a half year, mid-year? I don't think that was a 1 year, was it?
I don't know if it was, well, it was I think it was first quarter.
Oh, it might have been the quarter.
First quarter of the new fiscal year. That's what was being reported.
So that's a good sign. That means people are, the tourism is alive and well in Mendocino. We just need to keep that going. Anything else on economic development, Henry? Sorry.
I mean, I would just say, I feel like the presentation we heard earlier is actually also totally tied into this. If they can make that happen,
yeah,
like that is one of the major things holding economic development down is just the lack of housing. So that would be great news if it works out.
I wonder, because they're on wheels, if they would be paying a property tax on that, or if it would be a vehicle license fee, because it would be considered a vehicle.
Yeah, that's a good question.
I can tell you how it happens at Ocean View Estates. The landowner pays the property tax.
Okay.
Because they own
factored
the
into
land,
that,
but
right.
the real property of the structure,
Is a personal property.
it's personal property,
Yeah.
it's not real property, and it's because it's on a chassis and it's
Yeah,
mobile.
right. And so
Yeah,
that
this
individual.
new product seems like a new variant of a mobile home.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
You know, what the heck?
Mhm.
It's groovy.
yeah.
Yeah. If I were, yeah,
It's the water.
if I were the governor, I'd be looking for a business like that to deploy to a lot of communities.
Well, you
You
know, and
know,
if
you
the-
can run, it's coming up.
Probably have a decent chance.
Go for it, man.
Okay, nothing else on economic development? Henry, congratulations on your first,
yeah, thanks.
first solo.
I was really just like
Nice job.
keeping my head down and avoiding actually doing any work for this committee for so long, and now my
Now
chickens
it
have
came
come
and
home to
got you.
roost. Thank you all for bearing with me on the various technical, hiccups along the way as I get my feet wet. Particularly, Ms. Elowit, my apologies for the delay in the YouTube video for last month. I will do better this month. I think things are, aside from the initial issue of me not turning the audio on right at the beginning, I think things felt pretty smooth here. Audio seems to come in. We'll find out when I actually get to the video. But
A testament to your skills.
it's honestly a testament really to Don's extremely thorough and clear documentation of what is required.
Nothing beats good documentation, I tell you.
Yeah.
It's great.
I was like, I barely remember what I'm supposed to do in the document, man. It's really good. I'm gonna send my appreciation to him later. He did an excellent job with that. Other than that, I don't really have anything on communications to report.
Item number 11, treasurer's report.
We don't have treasurer.
My question was, did we ever hear back regarding our invoice or request to reimburse Don for the supplies?
I haven't heard anything.
Okay, we'll wait for our treasurer to come back and get an update on that.
I had a question.
Yeah.
At the Board of Supervisors meeting, the comment that Hashak made about, I was wondering what you guys thought of that. He just wasn't up to speed, is that right, maybe?
Yeah, we don't still have the extra budget, right? Do we?
We don't have do we get 5,000?
Yeah.
Okay, we do, I just want to make sure, and the others only get less.
Yeah.
And the others get 2,400.
2,500.
But the way he was,
Are we on camera?
We
probably
are.
are, so.
Are we
Oh,
on
no,
camera?
sorry, we're not on
It's
video.
just audio?
Yeah,
Okay,
just
good.
audio.
I didn't want my grimacing to show.
Well, now it's recorded.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm willing to cop
Let
to
the
that.
record show now.
Let the record show grimacing. So
But
do you
yeah,
really want to
and
talk
you're-
about this?
You're right, when.
I should talk about from out there, huh?
When Chair Hashak indicated that Gualala Mac could pick up the maintenance fee of $2,600 because we get 5,000.
Caught me really
I'm
off guard.
glad the camera wasn't on the audience. But yes, we do get 5,000 because of a negotiation with the county because of GMAC's processing of coastal development permits. And so because of the money that we bring in as a result of that review, we were to get reimbursed each time we did a coastal development permit review, and they decided it was too much paperwork, so they just made it a flat fee for the year of $5,000. Robert, you were around then, is that pretty accurate summation?
Yeah, for a long time. There was a time when we were getting only 3, I thought I remembered. But I thought 5,000 sounds right.
Just to be clear for the record, this is not money that any council member
No,
has touches in any way.
the
This is-
council does
no.
not receive any compensation for it. This is strictly as part of our operating budget to pay for the rental of the Coast Life Support Building and
And incidental expenses.
any other incidentals we
Notices.
have to
Yeah.
conduct our meetings.
Yeah,
But
well, it used to be for the secretary, but no longer is, so.
Right.
I would imagine our budget outlays are rather substantially reduced from previous, so we'll see what they do with that, but, you know, if we don't spend the money, it just
It
goes
doesn't
back to the
accumulate.
county, so.
Yeah, it's not,
Yeah.
It's
an
not an
annual allocation.
use it or
Yeah,
lose
exactly.
it type process, so.
Well, it makes you want to say thanks to David for all the work he does as the secretary of the board. Of the
You're
council.
welcome, Robert.
She,
Yes.
It's a privilege.
It's a tough job.
Privilege to
great
serve.
job. Yeah.
Well, I think I'm running, distant second now to Henry on the lifting, so, it's good. It's good work, and I'm happy to do it. I won't do it forever, but for now.
I still think you're doing more.
Okay, on the item.
Before you move on, can I ask a question?
Yeah,
About the camera, is there a reason you don't have this meeting on camera?
Yeah, maybe I should have discussed that in the committee report. Thank you for mentioning that. So Don used to run all the tech, and he has the camera that would set it up, and he generously quoted us a good price for the speakers and the various equipment that uses that, and the microphones and everything else, but the camera is his personal camera that he uses for other purposes, and that was not included in what he was willing to sell to the council. We could discuss trying to acquire such a thing so that we could get back on video if we think that that's important for the council.
Well, I'll tell you why it's important to us on the other end of the Zoom is because we can't tell who's speaking. Because I don't know everybody by voice, so it's very hard for me to do reporting when I don't know who is saying what.
That is a very good point.
so in the interim, we should, when you're speaking, this is Kevin.
There you go.
Yeah, in the future, if we're going to speak, we should identify ourselves. That's a great point, thank you.
Well, I was going to offer that as a solution, but I know that sometimes people forget, and so I think a camera is a better long-term solution if you guys can swing it.
Excellent point.
I think we should, sorry, this is Henry. This is gonna take some getting used to. I think that we should table this until our treasurer is present.
Yeah.
So we can try to get a sense of what our budgetary situation is.
Can we
This
put
is
it on?
Secretary Spock. Do you want to handle it formally as a specific item, or shall we remind ourselves to make sure that we have this conversation?
Let's make it
For the treasurer?
yeah, because, well, I want to do it in December because I know that we'll have Councilmember Hess here.
Yeah.
And he'll be able to weigh in on the equipment
And
and,
we'll be able to steal his camera.
yeah, well, we can
Wait
do
till
that,
he's in
we
the
can do
building.
that too.
Can we, maybe we can nest it under committee reports? We can add
Under
an
10.5?
action.
Yeah,
Yeah.
under
I'll put a
10.5,
sub-bullet
why don't
under
we do
10.5?
that?
Yeah, for
We'll add
potential
that.
action regarding approval of acquisition of video equipment or whatever.
Okay.
This is Zach. We should simultaneously like get a quote from Don on what the cost of his camera is, so we know how much money we're talking about. Get an average.
My hunch is his camera is probably, this is Henry, my hunch is his camera is probably more than we really need.
Sure.
Would be my guess.
Yeah.
I'll put that as another action for myself. I'll try to get a sense, I'll chat with him about what he thinks is like.
Just like the type of
requirement.
camera, like
Yeah.
what's the USB attachment, you know, what are the specs needed, you know, and then, you know,
Yeah.
you can figure out a budget for a camera based on the specs.
Great.
Good point. Oh, this is Kevin, good point. Okay, this is Kevin. We're on to item 12, council member comments, new business for future agenda. So that was kind of appropriate. Mr. Spock, do you have anything under council comments?
No, just my continuing gratitude for all you guys. Thank you for traveling this journey together. I'm really gratified to serve in this capacity. Again, I won't want to do it forever, but it's I'm happy to help out, and I'm glad that it's working for you guys. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
I would express the same, and especially Dave and Kevin and Robert and Don, or not Don, and also Tom Murphy, who's not in the audience tonight, but all of whom made the trip out to Ukiah on Tuesday to weigh in with the Board of Supervisors and took the whole day out of their lives and drove 4 hours. And I just really appreciate the commitment that you all showed to this. I took the easy way out and joined on Zoom, but I think it was impactful to have people in the room that had spent that time and showed the importance that way. So I really appreciate that. And then my only other note is, you know, we've got an impending vacancy and also an additional alternate, hopefully in the works. So that's going to be 2 new people that need to come on board. So I've already had one person express an interest.
Okay.
But I would encourage people to, you know, anybody in the audience that wants to throw their hat in the ring, and otherwise for anybody to sort of be on the lookout for people in your own social circles who you think would be good and interested. And sorry, we got a question in the chat of how to throw one's hat in the ring. And I would say that's probably a communication with Ted at the Board of Supervisors.
There's no ring yet.
Right, not yet.
One of
That's
the
true.
limitations is you have to kind of watch.
Yeah, wait for the vacancy.
And so one way a person could contemplate the hat toss is just to stay in touch with us or stay in touch with GMAC, as Corinne has been doing.
Yeah.
You know, just situational awareness in that route. We'll learn when there's actually somewhere to toss that hat.
Yeah.
But to your point, this is Dave Schbach speaking. To your point, Councilmember Mayor, it's always a good idea to have a conversation with the supervisor.
Yeah.
This is Kevin. It doesn't hurt to have an introduction.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know that Councilmember Hayward did that, reached out to our supervisor as an introductory. So he was aware of your interest.
Yeah.
And I would encourage anybody that has an interest in serving on GMAC to reach out to our supervisor as an introduction. So he's aware that we have interested people.
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Hayward, do you have anything?
My Sonoma project is stalled, so I'm not going anywhere for another year. So I won't, my seat won't be vacant. I think for another school year, I believe, so.
Well, that's for our benefit.
Yeah.
It's all good, it's just money.
I will admit to being pleased to hear that, but also I'm sorry, I know that really upends.
No, it's fine. I'm always happy to stay here longer, you know. I just hope this project, you know, doesn't slip through our fingers. I don't think it will. It's just, you know, money, prevailing wages, finding a contractor, stuff happens. It's all good.
We hope everything goes in the right direction. But
everything always does go in the right direction. We're here.
Mr. Youngling.
Just wanted to share the same sentiments you've all expressed about, it was great that we were all supportive as a group for what occurred this past Tuesday at the Board of Supervisors meeting. So we're a good working group. I like it.
All right. I have 3 items. One is to say thank you, echo what you've said about going and supporting our council decision, even though we spoke as citizens. But I know that was appreciated by the Board of Supervisors, that they saw an unofficial uniformity by GMAC, that we listened to the public and we represented them in our recommendations. So that's a bonus. Second item is, if none of you are doing anything on Saturday, November 29th at 6 p.m. is the Gualala Lions Lighted Truck Parade. So I encourage anybody who has a vehicle with wheels and decorations to enter. And if you're not entering, come on out and enjoy the festivities, because it is a great time and a great way to kick off the holiday season in downtown Gualala. And the third and final item for me is I'd like to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, because we won't be back until December.
December.
So please,
Are we gonna
everybody
be-
have a safe and,
That's right.
yeah, everybody have a safe and healthy Thanksgiving with family and friends, and I look forward to seeing you in December. If you have any items that you would like to see on the agenda for next month, let Dave know, and he'll send out a copy of the agenda for us to take a look at. We did receive a question on whether or not our agenda should be draft, but.
Yes,
Yeah.
I intend to continue doing it this way unless the county council instructs me otherwise.
Okay,
Do you want to know, there was feedback from a recipient, I have a distribution for our draft agendas. And an individual sent me an unsolicited advice to not call it draft anymore,
Because
because it's published.
yeah.
And because nobody ever considers the agenda at the beginning of the meeting, which is entirely inaccurate. This group, every time, considers whether the agenda requires an adjustment. It is draft until you decide it is not.
right,
Yeah.
That's
until
my,
it's approved.
as
Real
secretary, it's not my call to final it, it's my job to draft it. And that's what I'll do. Anyway,
All right. This is Kevin, and I would entertain a motion to adjourn at 7:58 PM. Do we have a motion?
Yes, I will, well, sorry, we had one comment, in the chat.
Oh, okay.
Related to the board openings, which I wonder if it would be out of order for me to, bring that to the fore, since I saw it in the chat.
No, go ahead.
So Ms. Elouette at the ICO suggested that we should put a notice in the paper about the board openings.
great idea.
I think that is a great idea as well.
Great idea. As soon as we hear back from county council, and as soon as Councilmember Hess formally submits his resignation, then we could, because I know the county will put a notice out on their website of openings for GMAC. But that's a great idea
It's not
to
so
also put
visible.
it in
Yeah,
in the newspaper.
yeah.
And,
Thank you, Ms. Elouette. That's Dave Schbach, by the way.
Hey, welcome, Dave.
And I would encourage anyone, if you know anybody who would be interested in serving on this august body, please invite them to consider it. Maybe attend either through Zoom or in person to kind of see the dynamics that we have going on. We, as been mentioned, we have a really good working cohesive group right now. And I thank you for that. And we wish Melissa the best, and hope that her health improves enough to where she's able to join us in the future.
With that, I will make a motion to adjourn until Thursday, December 4th at 6 PM in this very place.
Congratulations, you made it 8 o'clock.
Perfect, I'll second
Good.
that.
We have a second by Councilmember Youngling. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Bye.
Opposed? Great. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
Yeah, thank you. You too, you guys. Very good.
Watch the parade in front of Robert's property.
You always can.
You know, I keep talking to the owners of Taqueria del